Hello and welcome back. In this video, we'll master the sum function. Okay, we'll learn about its syntax, multiple ways to sum, how sum behaves with blanks, with texts and errors, and how to deal with filtered data, numbers stored as text, time values, and even summing across multiple sheets. Okay, so this is what we are going to work on uh, in functions in today's video, in this particular video. Before we begin with functions, because we are officially starting with functions in Excel, I would like to tell you a few difference between a function and a formula. A formula is when any user curates their own formula. For example, if I want to write equals A1 plus A2. This is a formula which I have created. Okay. What is a function? A function is a built-in formula. Okay. For example, if I write equals sum, and then I go about maybe, writing different values over here like this. Okay. Obviously, it will give me 0 since they do not have any value. But this is a function and the one that we create on our own, that is a formula. So I hope the difference between a function and a formula is clear to all of you. Okay. Now, let's start with the syntax and the concept of sum. As we already know, and the word itself suggests that sum adds the numbers. You can give it single cells, you can give ranges or several ranges at once. Like you can give anything for that matter, and it will sum it. Now, how does that work basically? Let's try it with some numbers, all right? So I'm going to put equals sum, and then I'm going to put some numbers. Let's say I'm going to write 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. Sorry, I forgot to, I think, one sec. Yeah. 30, it has to be separated by a comma. And this is how it will work. What is the syntax of a sum? I'll simply write it. Sum, you will put obviously an equal sign in front of it. Right now, I'm just simply writing it. Number 1 equals number 2, comma, number 3. Like that, you will go on. Okay. And this series can go on up to 255 arguments. You can give up to 255 arguments in this particular series. Okay. If you put an equal sign in front of it, it will interpret as a function and it will show me an error because we didn't put any numbers but the text. Okay. Each argument can be a number. Whatever 255 arguments you're going to give, it can be a number, it can be a cell, a range, or an array. Okay. Right now, what we created was typically an array of numbers. All right. It also ignores any type of text and blanks, but not errors. Obviously, because if there is a blank space, let's say if there is 30 here, 40 here, and I don't write anything over there, and I write a 60 over here, and I want to get a sum of these values. I'm going to simply write sum and I'll select my range. For now, you just understand it this way. It will still sum these three values, but it will ignore all the blank spaces that were present in that particular arrangement. Okay. So this is the basic syntax of sum. I hope this is clear to all of you. All right. Now let's try with some basic, some basic demo and how do we work about that. So let's get started. Now, here I'll write some items. And here let's put our quantities. Okay. My items can be pen, these can be pencils, ABC, whatever. You can write some notebooks also, erasers, and markers. We simply make a data quickly. Then let's write some quantity. And there you go. Now we have the quantities. Now we'll simply try to sum or try to get some value out of it. Okay. What I want is I want the sum of all these quantities. Okay. So let's see how we can do that. So I'll just simply use equals sum. It will obviously start showing me some options. I can write. Now I'm telling you the ways to write your range. Okay. My range starts from this cell. Okay. And it goes on till B6. So it started with B2 and went on till B6. I selected the range and I would get the sum of all the quantities. What is happening here? This adds all quantities from B2 to B6. It ignores any type of headers if you have, any blanks if you have, anything, any blank range like we discussed already. It will just ignore all of that. Now, what if I change any value over here? Suppose instead of n, I want 50. You will see that instantly this value has changed, right? What if I remove this entirely? I remove 50 entirely. What will happen to my sum? My value got changed to 110 from 160. I'll just show it to you once again. Right now, my sum is 110. And what if I put a value over here, let's just 40. I get the value as 150. If I remove the entire value and I press enter, I'll automatically see the drop in my quantity. So what happens here is this function automatically updates also. So it's like, all the functions will work dynamically because of your range value. They work in real time. All right. Now, what if you have you have multiple range or you have non-contiguous ranges? Okay. Let's see this by an example. So I'll just put here some. Now, sorry. Let's try it here only so that you can see it and maybe we'll save the sheets later on. So here, let's say I have a market which shows me the online data and store data, okay, of the different types of quantities. Let's say in my online, I did sale of these many items. You just write random numbers and just I'm just giving you a practice. You have 800, 900, let's say 600. Okay. Now you have this data. I want the sum of these non-contiguous range. What will happen if I write sum and then I go about with this range first, comma, this range first? What do you think will happen? It is 5,800. I'll show you something now. Equals sum, getting the range summed over here, that is 3,500. Similarly, I want to get the sum of these values. Now, if you see, this is the sum of the entire range, right? Because the value in my column D is 3,500 and the value in my column E is 2,300. And if I am adding the two together, it is giving me the sum of the entire range. So the entire range cannot be summed like this. Obviously, you can do it in different manner. It will select in the same fashion. But the idea here is to first add the numbers from one column, comma, adding the number of the second column. So that is how the logic of this function works, right? So you can also pass separate blocks to sum. That means here we can just simply add online column and store column in one formula. Or you can use an entire rectangular range as well. How does that work? So right now I just wrote, but how will it work the entire range? If I just add like this, you will still get the same number. Okay. These are two different ways of adding something. Okay. One, wherein we gave multiple blocks. Second, wherein we gave an entire range, which is called a rectangular range. Okay. So I hope this is clear how to sum a non-contiguous range or multiple ranges together. All right. Now, let's see how we can do row totals and grand totals together. Okay. So again, very important. So let's just go to our sheet 2 and let's get it started. So here I'll just put my products, my price, my quantity, and let's write line total. Okay. Now, here in my products, I'm going to simply write whatever type of product I'm going to use. So let's start with pen, pencil, notebook, and marker. Okay. Let me just color code it so that you can see, you can, visualize it properly. Convert it into the entire, we'll give the borders to it. Now we'll give the price. Again, just practice it along with me if you're doing it. Let's give the quantities. Some random numbers here and there. All right. Now we need the line total. So here in this one, first what I need to do is I want to do a relative referencing that we learned before to multiply quantity and the price, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, I'll put a formula instead of a function wherein I'm multiplying one cell to another and then I'm going to use it for the other cells. You can simply copy it down to the other cells as well. Now, I want to do a grand total. How to do a grand total? Simple function, that is sum function, and simply select your range and there you have your total value. Isn't that great? So we have our total value also over here, right? So sum is great for grand totals when row totals are actually calculated. Now, whatever changes you make, instead of 5, you make it, let's say 15. It will change the entire set. Okay, so it works really dynamically if you see it. All right. Now, how we can do entire columns and, check the performance. All right. So let's say I want to write somewhere sum bracket B:D. What is this? This will basically add everything inside this particular column. Am I clear? What if I want to do entire row? So I'll just put equals sum. I want the entire row, remember. So if let's say I want to get the total row also summed, I can do it in the same manner. All right. One sec. Yes. So sum equals sum. And I want to get the entire row summed, like I said. 4, because this is the row that we are targeting. 4th row. 4 colon 4. That means 4:4. Entire row that we are going to calculate and simply sum it. Same you can do with entire rows, entire columns. You can practice it multiple times. Okay. Now, if you have a table, you can also sum entire table. Right now, we do not have a table. So let's just convert it into a table. You will learn about the tables later on, obviously, but I'll just show it to you right now. Okay. Now we have the table and this is our table 1. If you see, the table name is table 1. We're going to just simply do the sum of this. Okay. So it will auto expand as rows are added. So let's just do one thing. Let's just do lined total over here. Let's just get back because it is a table. So we'll just do it over here. Or let's keep the line totals also. We'll just simply do a total over here. Let's try. How is it going to do? I'll say equals sum. Since my table name is table 1, I just need to simply write table 1. And what in table 1 do I need to add? So in table 1, I simply need to add my line total. So I'll just write line total. Once it is done, you close your brackets and you close your function bracket and enter. This will give you the line total. Instead of line total, if you wanted quantity total, simply write QTY. Okay, since, right, 1 second, there is some error in the formula. There you go. You have the quantity. All right. That is how your summing in the table works. Right now, you haven't learned table. So for those of you who already know how to convert, that's good. If you do not know, simply select your data, go to tables, and just you can convert. Since it's already into a table form, it's not showing us. All right. So that's about it. Simple syntax. I'll show it to you once again. Equals sum. Start your bracket, the function bracket, write the table name. Since my table name was table 1, like I showed you. If you write table 1, it selects your table that you want to write on, right? That you want to work on. Simply use your square brackets, remember. Select the column that you want to do. So let's say I want to add my price column. I'll write price. I'll just close my square bracket, close my parenthesis for the function and enter. You have 95, which is the price over here. Okay. And if you see these values, this value is also changing because of the sum of the row that it is doing, sum of the column that it is doing. Okay. D to D. That's why it keeps on changing. So I hope this is clear. How do we check the entire columns and how do we add entire columns, entire rows, and also the tables? Okay. Now, how does sum function behave when numbers are stored as text? Very, very important again. Okay. So let's do it on a different sheet. There you go. Let's say I'll just put it here some labels and amounts. So let's say it is a true number. What is a true number? True number is, let's say, 120, something like that. So it's a normal number formatted in the form of a number, which is in the form of a number. Then there is text number. What is text number? Text number is one which is stored like a text. That means inside double quotes. I'll just write 130 like this. Inside double quotes, that means it is a text. Then again, let's give a true number and let's write 150. Okay. Now I want to sum this entire range. So if I say sum and sum is all, it will show me 270. Why? 120 plus 150 is 270. That means it is not taking this value, that is 130, in account. Why? Because it is stored as a text, which is why it got ignored. Okay. So sum ignores the text. Whatever imported data that we take, often brings numbers as text. So total looks wrong. And that is the reason why it happens. So obviously, every time that you import any data, you always have to clean and make your data valid so that you can work around with the functions. Okay. There are certain fixing options that you can do to convert that particular text-based number into a number. Let's say in this particular cell, that is B3, there is small warning icon also that will come when you update your function. You can simply convert to number. You can just change, since if you can see it, you can change it into number. or you can coerce your formula a bit. Okay. So let's say, how do we coerce the formula? Coercing the formula means equals sum, and you put dash, 2 times dash, you select your range, and done. What it shows you? It shows you the warning, right? Why is the warning wrong? Because, one sec. Okay, that works in MS 365, not in 2016 version, 2019 version. So moving on to the next set. Let's see how filtered and visible rows works in some function. So let's try another set of data that shows region and sales. So I'm going to put east, west, let's say again east, north, and I'll just put some numbers east. And here we'll put the numbers over here: 1200, 900, 1500, let's say 700, and 800, 900. Now we have the numbers and we have the regions and the sales. We are going to do a normal sum first of all. So in this particular cell, let's try the normal sum. So what would be the normal sum? Equals sum again, and select all of it. There you go. You have the sum. It shows all summed values, right? Now, next thing we are going to do is we are going to turn on our filter. So I'll go to my home tab. In the home, we have sort and filter. Go to sort and filter and just click on filter. It will open your filter. Okay. So right now it is showing all. From here, I can select the filter that I want. I have selected all of them. So it will obviously show me all of them. But we can select the region. Okay. So you can select your region and you can see how the data changes. All right. So let's try it once. Let's go on. Apply filter. There you go. From the regions, it is showing me select all. I'll just uncheck that box and I just want to see east. It will show me all the east values, but you will see that it shows in total it is sum of all. Even the hidden cells, I'm getting the value in the total, but what is visible is only east because I selected east. What if I select only west? I selected west. I'll still see the sum of the entire range, but what is visible is only 900. Okay. So that is how your filter and filter works. Okay. So the sum includes the hidden and the filtered out rows as well. If you need visible only totals, we will have to use subtotal in that case. Okay. So what we can do to just see visible only totals, let's try that once. So I'm gonna select all right now, show you over here. And now on this particular cell, let's try the subtotal. So equals subtotal, and I'm gonna put 9. 9 is basically, it's equals to sum. Okay, so 9 is, let's say, sum, comma, select the entire range that I have. It will show me 5200, but now let's select our regions. Select west. What is it showing me? It's showing me 900. Why? Because this is the subtotal column. This is my total column, which shows me even the hidden values. And this is my subtotal. Remember that 9 was equals to the sum and sum of all the other values, right? So if you want to manually hide, let's say, a non-east row or a non-west row, you can just simply click on the row and hide the row as well. Okay. Suppose here, if you see this is hidden, if you want to hide this also, you can just simply click on the row and you can just hide and unhide. You can do that. All right. So that is how manually this will work. And you will have to use 109 in that case to sum. All right. So 109 equals sum, but it ignores both filtered out and manually hidden rows as well. So every row will get hidden. So let's say I want to just hide this. It will show me 0. And here I'll just use 119, which still show me 0 because it has ignored everything, but my total still shows me 5200. Okay. So to ignore 9 ignores only filter, and 109, it ignores filter and manual hides both. Okay. Remember these two things in showing, the visual only totals and visual only rows, etc.